know, like with a lot of our patients, that's a very common thing that they come in here for is weight loss, and they can't seem to lose weight, and 99.9% of the time it's because of a hormone imbalance. And most people don't even realize. I didn't even know that was something that actually caused weight gain, or would actually prevent you from being able to lose weight.
Right. Hi, welcome this week to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Lauren.
We have a great show for you today. Today we are talking about weight loss, and we're starting a series because summer is coming, and a lot of people start thinking about taking off their clothes.
Right?
You can see the skin now.
Losing weight and
cover up.
Losing weight and losing clothes. And we're doing a series for this one because obviously in the topic of weight loss there is so much to encompass, when it comes to that topic. So I'm excited about this week because I feel like we're talking about something that most people aren't aware of, which is hormones.
Hormones, yeah. And so I always say that it's not one thing that gets you overweight. If you're struggling with that right now, it's lots of things. So you have to address those. And there's so many things that for it to be sustainable, for this to be a lifelong walk for you and to feel good in your skin and feel healthy and feel beautiful and vibrant and anti-aging, you have to address all of those things. You can't just do a quick fix. You can't do, a 1 week ketogenic diet or, starve yourself and just lose a bunch of water weight. And you can't take diet pills and expect that to be sustainable when your hormones are crumbling as you're aging.
Yeah, and it's something that you can maintain. And by being able to, the only way to even be able to maintain that weight loss or that system is by understanding what it is in you that's actually causing your weight gain.
Exactly. The underlying thing.
Yeah. And so I know, like with a lot of our patients, that's a very common thing that they come in here for is weight loss, and they can't seem to lose weight, and 99.9% of the time it's because of a hormone imbalance. And most people don't even realize. I didn't even know that was something that actually caused weight gain, or would actually prevent you from being able to lose weight.
Right.
Because go ahead.
No, well, think about when you're younger. You can exercise more and eat less, and it's easy to lose weight. But as you go through menopause or perimenopause or after you've had a baby, it's not that easy anymore. That's all hormones.
Yeah, because I hear people say like, oh, I don't even, I hardly even eat that much, and I've been exercising more than I did before. And it's like, well, what happens is if your hormones are off balance, when you're working your butt off in the gym and you're eating, quote, right or whatever, eating clean and whatnot, and you're not seeing results, that's because your hormones are imbalanced.
Yeah.
And your system is not operating the way it needs to be. So anything that is actually happening in your body is not being affected the way that it should be, not
your metabolism's not running
everything. Yeah. So it affects everything. Yeah. It just kind of, you're pretty much wasting your time, and which is unfortunate, because what happens with people is that they end up feeling like nothing works. So then they just give up.
Yeah.
They're
eat
like,
the Oreos and lay around.
Yeah. So then it just perpetuates the problem, So with that said, you can lose weight, and if you haven't been able to lose weight, then it's probably because of the hormone imbalance. And and so that's what we do here is
and I always tell people I don't like to be known as the weight loss doctor. I think of weight loss as a side effect of being healthy. And there's this thought that, and I'm going to explain this about cortisol and belly fat, but there's this thought that you have to lose weight to get healthy. And I don't say that at all. I think it's the other way around. You have to get healthy to lose weight, because when you're healthy and your hormones are balanced, the weight just falls off. And I'm going to explain all that about how you're born with all the fat cells you're ever going to have and how they're affected by toxins and hormone imbalances, and that the appearance of being overweight is actually being toxic or having inflammation. So it really isn't about you're consuming these Oreos and you're consuming more fat cells, and that's what your being overweight is about. So we're going to explain all that on the show today and teach you how hormones impact your weight and how you can get healthy to lose that appearance of being overweight. We'll be right back with the Naked Doctor. Hi, I'm Dr. Tammy, the Hormone Queen. In my almost 20 years of experience in working with tens of thousands of patients, I found that hormones have everything to do with weight loss. There are fat burning and fat storing hormones, so you have to maximize the fat burning and minimize the fat storing hormones. I've created Dr. Tammy's 21-day metabolic solution, which will help you heal your metabolism and lose weight. Very exciting. So what do we have? We have my daily metabolic support, which is formulated with all the ingredients to help your fat burning hormones work better and to minimize your fat storing hormones. I also have a great whey protein if you need a little bit of a meal replacement or just to help with some of the appetite. Helps with that glucose metabolism because let's face it, sugar storage, insulin, those issues are huge with trying to lose weight. And when you crave sugar, it's just no fun. So you're never hungry when you're doing this. Our Detox Complete helps heal the gut so that your body can absorb all these nutrients, because if you don't heal the gut first, then you're wasting your money on all this stuff. So I wanted to make sure you have all those great amino acids and anti-inflammatories. And one of the things that we found is most people are not overweight, they're inflamed. And so you have to treat the inflammation for you to lose the weight and for it to be sustainable. I also have my secret weapon, which I absolutely love, which is methylated vitamins. This is L-methylfolate, and this helps clear toxins because most people are not only inflamed, but they're toxic. So this helps clear all of that and helps your hormones work better. And then we have a great probiotic. There have been studies that have shown that people who are overweight have different bacteria in their guts than people who are thin. So if you want to be thin, you need the thin bacteria. So this probiotic helps heal the gut, and all of these things together help your metabolism work better and help you lose weight faster. Hi, welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're doing the Blackboard segment. We found that we like to do these segments together because we can kind of interact a little bit. I'm very visual, so hope you are too, and that's how I learn, so I like to teach that way as well.
And I'm an interactive learner, so that's perfect.
It's perfect. So one of the things when it first comes up about weight loss, and again, weight loss is about getting healthy, and weight loss is sort of a side effect of getting healthy. So I want to explain the underlying cause of how hormones impact your weight. One of the first things that I learned as far as hormones go is that a fat cell is basically, or what we call an adipose cell in science, is basically just a cell in the body that has all different hormones and proteins and different components, and it's used to burn as a source of energy. You're born with all of the fat cells that you're ever going to have. They're not the same fat cells. They turn over every few years, but the quantity is the same. So the appearance of someone who's overweight, because you can't really say fat, everybody's got fat cells, right? The appearance of someone who's overweight is because their fat cells are larger.
They're inflamed?
They're inflamed.
Wait, and I heard that you actually, so I heard that like by the time you're like 14 or something like that, that you've gotten, basically you've accumulated all of the fat cells that you are going to accumulate. But then, and so like if you have a lot, then that means that after that age that they're harder to lose. Is there any kind of accuracy in that?
Well, you're not really losing fat cells. You're losing the volume.
Okay. So really you're born with the same amount of fat cells? Like, so
everybody's born with different amounts. So
but
you
I have
might
the same
be
amount.
genetically predisposed to having more fat cells.
Oh, okay.
Than
Okay.
else. Yeah.
But basically right now I have the same amount of fat cells that I had that I was born with when I was born.
Well, and your body's grown, so you know you change.
They may have been tiny fat cells at the time, but wow, that's cool. That's interesting. Okay.
And when you change the volume of these, basically what you're burning is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So when you quote burn in the gym, and we're going to do a whole show just on fitness, when you quote burn fat in the gym, all you're doing is you're blowing off carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, toxins. So you have to have plenty of hydration. So one of the things is that the fat cells actually store water. And what happens is kind of like a cactus that hangs on to water in dehydration, kind of save it for times of when it's not going to get rain. Fat cells do the same thing. So if you take a diet pill,
hang on to water.
Okay. So if you take a diet pill, it's basically just going to drive the H2O out of the fat cells.
Dehydrating the fat cells.
Dehydrate. So it looks like you're thinner, but that's not sustainable. So you have to get the hormone balance going, which the hormones change the receptors on these cells and tell them to release or to take on. And fat cells actually store hormones. So really important factor to know, and we could get really complicated in the hormone balance and how different kinds of estrogens get stored in fat cells, and we can do that when we talk about testosterone or estrogen. But basically what we want to do is we want to affect the size. There are different procedures like the cool sculpting and stuff like that that actually shrink these down and change the appearance of. But what happens is it comes right back on when you start.
Because what's causing them to get bigger is still there.
You haven't made the impact yet.
Gotcha.
So how your fat cells shrink or swell, basically, one of the things that's very dependent on water. So one of the tips today is drink a lot of water. And the old rule about 8-ounce glasses a day is not accurate. It's based on weight. So that might be accurate for you, but for a 200 or 300 pound person, they probably need double or 3 times
because it's
that.
a percentage of their weight, isn't it? Okay.
Exactly. So the fat cells are actually protective. Believe it or not, that sounds like, whoa, really? Because
what are they protecting?
We think
organs?
They're not pretty in the Baywatch, bikinis.
Yeah.
But what they're protecting from is from toxins and keeping the hormones balanced because they regulate the hormones. So where you store your fat is an indicator of your hormone imbalance.
Oh, which is why your body changes based on which imbalance you have.
Exactly. And if you go to our website, healingartcenters.com, you'll see the different body types. But I'm going to be in general here for you. So everybody knows belly fat. So what happens in belly fat, I'm going to draw a big old belly here, is that this is a person here. Here's their face. This is crazy. But what happens?
It's their art. She can actually.
Yeah, I can actually paint a little bit. But what happens in belly fat is these fat cells here, there's a different kind of fat cells in the abdominal region. They're very protective, hyperprotective. And so what they do is they pull toxins away from the internal organs. And how I first learned this is I saw people who were extremely overweight who came in the office, and we equate being overweight with being unhealthy, right? I'm like, these people weren't diabetic, they didn't have high blood pressure, they didn't have any problems, so to speak of. So they're overweight, why not? And they've got these big bellies. It's because this belly fat was protecting them. It was pulling all those toxins and those abnormal hormones away from their internal organs. So because this is what we call adrenal or cortisol belly fat, this is very protective. Cortisol upregulates, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Cortisol upregulates this fat in this reason to protect you. So this is what we call a cortisol belly. Or an adrenal belly.
What's the difference? Or is that the same thing?
The adrenal glands are glands just above the kidneys that make a lot of different hormones, but make the majority of our cortisol. So when the body's under stress, everybody knows about stress eating, or if you're under a lot of stress for a long period of time, you're more prone to have this. Also, after menopause, when the ovaries fail or you have a hysterectomy, the adrenal glands have to compensate, and when they don't compensate, they end up making a lot of cortisol. When we do the food sensitivity testing, and we talk about foods in relationship to hormones and weight, what happens is certain foods stimulate inflammation. Sugar is very inflammatory. Dairy can be inflammatory. Gluten is very inflammatory. It triggers this cortisol, which is the body's natural anti-inflammatory, to upregulate belly fat.
So I have a question about this belly fat. You said that basically it's protecting the organs. Does that mean that this person has a lot of toxins in their belly?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't see people overweight with belly fat as lazy or fat. I see them as inflamed and toxic and potentially going to be very sick.
Yes, toxic to themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to you.
We want to get into emotionally toxicity.
Right.
So anyway, this is what we call adrenal or the cortisol belly. Now, if you are a person who is just kind of heavy all over, this is a total metabolic issue. And this person is what we call a thyroid person. So if you gain weight everywhere, this means that pretty much all the metabolism fat in your body is being challenged. Your whole your calorie burning is all slowed down because this is all heat thermogenic, and the whole body, if you're overweight all over the place, not just your belly, not just your hips, this is more of a thyroid issue. We treat that very differently. Won't even go into thyroid at this point. It gets a little more complex.
But it's a pretty easy solution in terms of helping somebody with that.
It's one of the easiest fixes.
Because this is typically a low thyroid issue. Right.
High thyroid would be just the opposite.
Wait, which is the difference in hyper versus
hypo?
Hypo.
Right. So hypo is low.
Hypo. Okay.
Yeah. So give somebody some thyroid hormone, but usually thyroid is secondary to other hormone issues. It's kind of a cascade down the system. So
if somebody's body is like this, and they have a thyroid issue, does that mean like that for sure that there is another issue, or could it just be their thyroid?
There's almost always another issue.
Okay.
Yeah. And when we go to the food sensitivities, talk about leaky gut and those kinds of issues, a lot of that leaky gut, gluten and grains and things like that can stimulate thyroid issues as well. So you might...
Where does that come from, or why? Why are those just have a direct effect on the thyroid?
Yeah, it can. In leaky gut, there's a protein that's actually made called zonulin that can actually block thyroid conversion. Oh. So a whole nother conversation. Let's kind of keep it simple here, but this tells you got a thyroid hormone issue. So we can go into more if we want to kind of deep dive. So if a person has big hips, forgot to put the faces on these people. If a person has big hips, and this is usually in women, there's the big hips. This is usually an estrogen issue, and this can happen from estrogen dominance. You kind of know this if you have heavy periods, a lot of PMS, a lot of bloating, and what we call hormone problems, endometriosis, PCOS, infertility, all these kinds of issues.
What about the low? Isn't estrogen associated with the low waist? Belly fat as well?
Yeah, because what's happening is this is kind of the pelvic region where babies are stored. And so estrogen and progesterone basically upregulate to make babies.
Yeah.
So that's where we see a lot of that weight gain. And this was one of my primary issues, which then led to thyroid issues, which led to adrenal issues. But when I first started out younger, I always had, the big hips, and that's where all my weight problems were.
And this is high estrogen?
Yes.
High estrogen issue. So why is it that as women get older, because whenever they go through menopause, doesn't that lower their estrogen when they go through menopause?
Well, it's a total kind of female hormone imbalance, which then kind of throws in some adrenal. So very, very, very rarely after menopause is it completely an estrogen issue. It usually kind of kicks into thyroid.
A variation of all of them.
A variation of all of that.
Because typically I've just seen you see a lot, like as women get older. One of the things is they get bottom heavy, and so, or like that lower half.
Well, and there are different kinds of estrogens. Again, that's a whole nother conversation for the whole estrogen conversation. But there are more problematic estrogens than others. And as we age and as we gain more weight, we convert more into the problematic estrogens, which then can absolutely do a little bit more of this. So it gets a little more complicated there, but usually we see this in a little bit of the younger women, but absolutely. And this is actually more of an indicator of breast cancer. So this is kind of a more dangerous weight gain because these are problematic estrogens in that case. They're protective estrogens. They're not all bad, but there are more problematic ones. So,
what about for men?
So men are usually kind of like an adrenal belly. Testosterone usually will cause the what we call the beer belly. And so with time, they eat a lot of sugar, which can also make the testosterone go down. But testosterone is usually kind of that mid-adrenal belly as well. And testosterone and adrenal kind of go hand in hand as well. So if you got a guy who's lost muscle mass, it's almost like I call it like the melting body. They call it the dad bod now, but it's like when all of the muscle is kind of melted into this big belly.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we give them testosterone to give the muscle definition back, and the belly falls off.
It's like the testosterone is lifting the muscles back into place where they're supposed to go. So so tummy tucks in and the shoulders go back out and the chest comes out. Yeah, because it's like clockwork. You see, a man in his 50s or older, some even younger, and you see like it's not like they're fat, it's like and even like their legs and their arms are pretty small, and then they've just got this belly, almost like a pregnant belly. Yeah, and it's like, every time it's like low T.
And it's such an easy fix.
However,
it
really is.
Unlike some of the doctors, and I'm not trying to knock other doctors or these low T clinics, but if they just give a man testosterone without giving them estrogen blockers, they're going to affect the adrenals, and a lot of times they'll gain more weight when they go on testosterone. So you have to have an understanding of the total physiology and do all the appropriate lab testing. Otherwise, you can make their problem worse.
Yeah.
And we see that all the time.
All the time.
We have guys that come in.
Yep. And I love the little chart that you draw on how testosterone actually affects estrogen, which we have other shows that that you can check out that show that. But yeah, estrogen and testosterone, they play in the same boat. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure you're balancing both of those.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is not going to go away.
Right.
So.
And then the last body type, we could probably get, we could probably throw a few others in there, but these are the general ones. Is somebody, I call it the Michelin man. So if you look like this, skinny little face, but you kind of have this big body. This is an insulin issue, and insulin is a blood sugar storage hormone. And when we eat a lot of sugar, and sodas are one of the biggest culprits, because we were never meant to have that much sugar. We have a whole sugar show that we did. Over time, and this will lead to diabetes, basically.
I was about to say, that looks like a diabetes body.
This is a dangerous problem in the future, and so all these problems, again, are get healthy and the weight falls off, but you don't get healthy. These problems can lead to other things. So what we do is we get a handle on insulin, and we have different ways that we do that, but this is what we call an insulin or a blood sugar problem, and so if we don't get a handle on that, we won't affect that. Of course, all these hormones are interrelated, so a lot of times we fix these other things, this gets better as well. But this is definitely too much sugar in the diet, and we have to address that a little differently than we address these other things. So in the whole cascade of how all these hormones convert, if you have this understanding, you have an easy attack in. So looking at people where they store their fat, you can almost diagnose your friends and neighbors, right? It's almost like hairdressers can tell who colors their hair and who has hair extensions. You just see it long enough.
Or what brand they use or something.
Right. So when somebody walks in, I can pretty much tell you what your hormone imbalance is.
Yeah.
And so this is easy, but doing the blood work, everybody's different, and then taking that multifactorial approach to how to decrease their cortisol through the way they eat, through the way they exercise, through the supplements they take, all has a huge impact.
That's amazing.
Yeah, fun stuff. Hope you learned something new here. We'll be right back with the Naked Doctor.
I have osteoarthritis, and the arthritis medication that you get regularly will cause your kidney function to go down, and my kidney function had started going down, and so I knew I needed to do something different. I've been seeing Dr. Tammy for about 3 months, and she's been doing stem cells in my knees, and it's like a miracle. She absolutely hits it every time in the correct spot, and I am pain-free now, and I haven't been pain-free for about 10 years. I can go upstairs without pain. It's wonderful. And I send everybody I know to her because she's done such a wonderful job for me, and I just appreciate it so much.
Hi, welcome back to Naked Doctor. Hope you've enjoyed the show today. We're talking about weight loss, and we have the summer coming up, so everybody's getting ready to shed their clothes, but it's really not about that. It's really about getting healthy, the longevity, the anti-aging, the being healthy, the being around for your kids and your future.
And feeling good.
And feeling good.
Because, I mean, you know, you get to the point where, you know, a lot of people, when you get to a certain age and you've gained this weight, it's like you don't even feel like you, and you've done all the things that you know that you can do or supposed to do to lose weight or to feel better, and nothing's working, and you know, and then you just give up, and it's like you don't have to give up, and you know, we want to empower you to really understand what's going on with your body and find the solutions that you need to in order to lose weight and feel better. So that's why we're doing this series of weight loss.
Knowledge is power, and once you know it, it's a marathon, not a sprint, I always say. And you might, quote, mess up, and you might have your little setbacks, but you know what to do to get back on track. And then you don't just give up and eat the Oreos and lay on the couch.
Right. Yeah, you keep trying, and then actually when you're trying, then you start to get results. And then the best motivation for continuing any kind of weight loss is seeing those results. You know, you know, and it starts with actually finding the solution that is creating change in your body, and for most people that is getting your hormones balanced. That's step one. You know, because that is everything else after that is step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever other step. But if you skip step one, then all the other steps are irrelevant. They don't affect you. You know.
Cost. So we're doing a series. We're going to be talking about all the different aspects and how you can approach it from a sustainable, you can go out and get anybody to write diet pills for you, or you can go out and do all the latest, greatest craze, and you're going to spend a ton of money on all that stuff.
Cut your body up or whatever.
But in the long run, you want to do something sustainable. So we're going to teach you that, and we're going to do this through this next 5-part series with our weight loss series. And all of these will be posted later on our Facebook channel, which is the Naked Doctor Show, and doing some upcoming stuff right now. Our website is healingartscenters.com. Check us out there. Lauren's got a great Instagram page for us, and we have so much information out there. And our YouTube channel is Dr. Tammy Tucker, is that right? So you can check us out there, and
you can just search for the Naked Doctor Show also,
and that'll come up.
Yeah.
So we're super excited. We're going to be offering a program that is going to be a little less dependent on us and a little less dependent on coming into the clinic. Sometimes people are a little intimidated by that. However, we do love working with patients, and we love that one-on-one, but we want to make it more available. And maybe you have friends or family that don't live here locally that you want to help, or you want to offer this information, because we're all about getting the information out there.
Right.
So
this program is to help empower you in understanding what to do in order to take those steps to help you with that weight loss. So.
Absolutely. If you're intimidated about going to a doctor's office or that kind of thing, it might be something that you might be interested in, so we're going to make that available as well. And as we kind of go along in this 5-part series, we'll explain how you can get more involved with that program and how you can step into that, get in with the supplements and the things that you need to start making that impact. And then if you still need us and you still need some one-on-one coaching or that sort of thing, then we're here as well.
Yep, we'd love to see you.
All right, we'll see you back here next week on the Naked Doctor. We love you very much. Have a blessed week. Mwah.
Thanks for watching.